Hi everyone! Well, it's great to be back in the garden again for my coffee walk after visiting Gary and his wife Angela at the Rusted Garden Homestead over on the East Coast. It was so much fun sharing with friends, shooting videos, harvesting and eating some fresh tasty veggies. I think one of the best parts about gardening is the friends that you make. And let me know in the comments what friends you've made in your garden. Well, today on my coffee walk, I wanted to share with you 4 things that I'm doing here in the mid-season to really keep my garden growing. Because in the midsummer, there's still plenty of time to grow some beautiful, fresh, tasty veggies to harvest well into the fall. Home sweet garden. Coffee tastes so good in the garden, don't you think? Well, the first thing that I'm really focusing on doing in midsummer is checking my garden daily for harvest. Now you can see the scarlet runner beans right behind me are flowering and producing once again. They put on a first crop in early summer, took a little break, and with some sunshine, they're putting on a second crop. Aren't those blooms absolutely beautiful? Now, especially vegetables like beans, squash, and cucumbers that grow really fast, you do need to check them daily. If you miss a day, you could have baseball bat-sized zucchini or really big scarlet runner beans, which isn't so bad, but I really like them nice and fresh and tasty. So let's take a closer look and see all the beans this plant is absolutely loaded with. Now, it may seem kind of obvious for a gardener, but make sure you're harvesting your vegetables. You've worked hard this summer to grow these beautiful veggies, so make sure you're checking your garden daily and taking advantage of the wonderful garden grocery store you're growing in your own backyard. Now, beans grow so fast, and if you're not checking them daily, they can very quickly reach a large size, at least the scarlet runner beans can. But the more you pick, the more they're going to produce. So with scarlet runner beans, you can definitely let them go to this size and then harvest them for the beans, dry them, or save them for seeds. But they're super tasty when you harvest them about 4 to 6 inches long. You can just boil them or roast them in the oven. But they do like to hide underneath. So whether you're growing the pole beans, the scarlet runner beans, or just regular bush beans, make sure you lift up and get underneath the vines. See, there's some hiding back here. This one got away from me. And picking all the beans that are underneath too. And these little teeny tiny beans, believe it or not, just in a few days will grow to a really nice size for harvesting. There are just hundreds of beans on here. So if you want to grow a really productive bean that's also very beautiful, I highly encourage you to grow the scarlet runner beans. They get to about 10 to 12 feet tall, so you do need a large trellis for them. And I have the seeds in my bean seed collection. This plant is just loaded down with hundreds of beans. It really grew while we were away. It's so much fun to see all the growth in the garden once you get back from being gone, don't you think? Now let's go check out the zucchini. Nice little harvest of beans to start the morning off. I'll come out and harvest some more after I shoot the video. Now on my way over to the zucchini, I noticed the strawberry crate tower, the strawberry kale crate tower that we planted a few weeks ago is looking good. It grew like crazy while we were gone. I love the look of it. I actually popped in a few more tiny Tim tomatoes in the top because I didn't have anywhere else to plant them. So I'll probably end up transplanting those somewhere else to another side of the garden. But there's a couple little strawberries that are actually ready to harvest. Let's grab those on our way by here. Now, another reason why it's really important to make sure that you keep up on the harvesting here in the mid-season is that if you don't, the pests and the critters tend to come in. So make sure you're checking your garden daily and harvesting everything so that you get it before they do. Oh, these strawberries look so tasty. These are the Sequoia strawberries, just planted a few weeks ago. That one's not quite red, so I'm going to leave that one. And already harvesting. So these will go in my morning smoothie. Now we all know how quickly zucchini grows. This plant grew by leaps and bounds while we were gone. And there's a zucchini hiding underneath there that I have been dying to harvest. So let's get in there and check it out. Hopefully it's not a baseball bat size. That's the thing about zucchini. It's such a power producer that sometimes if you miss a day, it can really get oversized. But no problem. The big zucchini are always really good in zucchini lasagna. This one actually looks just about the right size. I just twisted it off here. That is absolutely beautiful. I think that one might go on the grill tonight. One thing that grew by leaps and bounds when we were away too is the cucumbers. They were about halfway up the trellis when we left, and now I have one that's almost to the top, and I know there's several that are ready to harvest. Now, one thing about cucumbers, you want to try and pick them when they're young, otherwise they do tend to get a little bit bitter. So this one here is the Boston Pickling cucumber. Oh, that just looks so delicious. I love fresh cucumbers. Now, if you do pick them and they're oversized, what you can do is cut the ends off. A lot of times the bitterness will be concentrated on the ends, but the middle will be nice and fresh and tasty. So let's take a look in here and see if there's any more that are ready to harvest. Oh, I see one right here. Oh, that just looks so good. I think we're going to be making a cucumber salad today for lunch. Do we have any more? Again, you want to lift them up because they do like to hide underneath. This plant is absolutely loaded down with flowers. Oh, there we go. This one might be a little bit oversized. Delicious. The second thing to do in your garden mid-season to really keep it producing is to fertilize. Now, especially after harvesting or pruning, your plants really need a boost to keep them healthy, to keep them producing, and you want to feed them with a water-soluble fertilizer or add some compost to your soil. So in addition to adding compost or worm castings around the base of the plants, I'm also giving them a good dose of the Good Dirt plant food, the Vermistera worm tea, which are both water-soluble. Now, the Good Dirt plant food is great because it's a 10-4-3 NPK, which gives them the nitrogen, helps them produce that green leafy growth, and also helps them with blossom and fruiting. And the Vermistera worm tea just helps them overall be healthy. The diseases generally tend to creep in mid-summer, and this provides them a slow and steady growth, a good dose of good bacteria and microbes, and really keeps them going. So I add that 2 pumps of the Good Dirt plant food to my watering can and about a 1/4 cup or half a cup of the worm tea to the watering can, and this just pretty much douse my whole garden with it. So the first step is harvesting in the midsummer. Second thing to do in midsummer is to fertilize. No matter what products you're using to feed your garden, the important thing is that you stick to a schedule. I fertilize my in-ground garden about every 3 weeks. You might need to do it more often if you live in an area where you get a lot of rain, maybe every 2 weeks. And my containers about once a week. So that really helps keep them healthy and producing, especially here in the mid-season. Now, the third thing that I'm doing here in the mid-season is spraying for pests and diseases. Usually about midsummer is the time when those things usually creep in. Now, we've been pretty fortunate. It hasn't been too hot here yet, so we haven't had a lot of pests and disease yet here in Southern California, but I know it's coming. So let me just share what I'm going to be doing about that. When it comes to pests and disease management, prevention is really the best cure. You definitely want to take care of the problem before it gets out of hand. Once it gets hot, I have a huge problem with spider mites, especially on my tomatoes. So I have neem oil, peppermint oil, and a natural soap mixed up here in this sprayer. And I have another video on the formula that I use. The neem oil helps disrupt the life cycle of the chewing and sucking insects. And the peppermint oil masks the scent of the plants, so the insects are deterred from chewing on the leaves. Now, a lot of people think neem oil hurts bees. You do want to get out here and spray early in the morning before the bees are out. And what happens is the neem oil dries on the leaves, and the chewing insects, once they munch on the leaves, will take a bite of that neem oil, and then their life cycle will be disrupted. So it really doesn't harm the bees, because they are not chewing on the leaves. But again, prevention is the best cure. Spray your garden down about once a week. If you have an infestation, you want to spray it every 3 to 5 days. And you can pick up both of these products over therustedgarden.com. I'll put links in the video description for them. And when you're spraying your plants, always make sure that you do a test spray first. Spray down a couple of leaves, wait 48 hours to see if there's damage, because different sprays will react differently in different climates. So if there is damage to your plants, just adjust the quantities of the oil or the soap that you're using and test spray again. No damage, then you can spray down your entire garden. It tastes so good. Well, my goal as a gardener is to always have something to harvest. And the fourth thing that you can do midsummer to keep your garden producing is don't stop planting. So let me show you a few things I'm planting right now to keep my garden producing throughout the summer and well into the fall. So here in the mid-season, it starts to get really hot. And a great thing to grow in the heat of the summer are heat-tolerant greens. Now, many of you know that lettuce just doesn't do well in the high temperatures, but it doesn't mean you have to stop growing salad. Grow heat-tolerant greens. Some great ones to grow are some kale. I've got some red Russian kale started here. And I think this is a purple kale, which is really pretty. The blue Scotch curled kale is a super hardy variety of kale and very tasty, and these really hold up well to the heat, even to 100-degree temperatures. And the great thing is they're also very cold tolerant. Here I have some chard growing, which is also very heat tolerant. These are all very easy to grow from seed, and I am going to be doing a video this weekend on growing heat tolerant greens. Now, some other things that are really easy to grow in the late summer are squash and beans. And I actually have these in my late summer garden seed collection, but it's a good idea to get a new wave of squash, beans, and even cucumbers going in the late season in case any of your plants die out, get taken by pests or diseases. And here I just have a little grow station here. You can pop some seeds in cups, which I'm going to be doing today, and it's warm enough to grow them right outside, or you can grow them indoors under grow lights. Now, if you're one of those people that lives in a northern climate and you have a short growing season, you may even want to get some of your cool weather vegetables going now. Because as the weather cools off, you're going to have transplants ready to put into your garden. So you can start from seed indoors because it might be too hot outside for them. And in about a month, you will be good to go. So take a few minutes here in the midsummer to get yourself a new round of healthy, strong veggies growing so you have something to harvest well into the late summer and into the fall months. And if you need seeds, grab yourself one of the heat-tolerant green seed collections. The fall garden or the late summer garden collections are a great way to start. And I am running a sale on my website, 15% off all seeds and containers with the code MIDSUMMER through Monday, July 15th. What a fun coffee walk this morning. You can't beat starting the day off with the harvest. Well, make sure that you're sticking to these four things here in the mid-season. Check your garden daily for harvest so you don't miss any of those fresh, tasty veggies. Stick to a regular fertilizing, pest control, and disease control routine, and make sure that you don't stop planting. Well, comment below, let me know how your summer garden is doing and what you're harvesting. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.